Alright, get ready for a trip review in the next couple of days, but I have got something seriously serious on my mind. And I'm prepared for people to think, I don't know, to be outraged about this. And I really hope for that not to happen, and I hope for this to maybe more make you think or not think badly about me. But it might. No, hopefully it won't. Make you think about whatever. Yourself, your kids, you know, start a dialogue with yourself or whatever, you know, whatever might happen. Here's my deal. People who know us, who've known us for a long time, you know this is not news. But I also don't want anyone to freak out on me and think that I'm doing it, you know, here. I'm just going to be honest. No one is honest about this, so I'm going to be honest about it. Kid is borderline overweight. That's not me saying she's overweight. I don't look at her and think, oh, little Miss Fatty Pants, you know. No, it's factually true. She has been for the last 3.5 years. When that first happened, our first set of doctors then were kind of like scornful about it. But at that time, I mean, dude, she was still on a restrictive diet. She couldn't have any allergens. She was eating brown rice and broccoli and still being breastfed. So like, when that happened, it was kind of like, that's her body type, you know, like, back off. Well, that's true. I mean, I believe that's true. And she's kind of hovered on that. I mean, number one, Kid was not born tiny. She was born big and then kind of actually like is a little bit smaller than she was. I mean, she was huge. She came out like a giant pumpkin on Halloween. She's always been big percentiles. But because her weight percentile is a little bit above her height percentile, she has kind of been in the overweight range for a while. And I don't think people talk about this, and I don't know if, I mean, what I want to talk about it is, number one, obviously we're not crazed, we haven't put her on a diet, it's been 3.5 years, it's been like this, and we've let it go, in part because it is her natural body type. The other thing is, though, things are changing for her, and we now feel that as parents, we are failing her, not in some ways. She was always kind of an eater who stopped eating when she was done eating. She's also a savory eater. She's like, if she could pick any type of food, it would be steak, you know what I mean? Not a big sweet tooth. And because she wasn't a big sweet tooth, I never really like paid attention to how much she was eating because she's eating healthy foods, you know what I mean? In retrospect, I don't know if that was, you know, wise. I mean, for me, I'm a sweet tooth, so I always, like, pay attention to the sweets I eat. You know, like, that's my bad stuff. So, there's that. That's not necessarily here or there. I'm just saying, putting it out there. Number two, if you're thinking, she's not very big. No, she is not obese, but she is technically overweight, and I'm not just saying that based on, I mean, that's true for her BMI. Just on that side of overweight. But if you see her, and you know, we see kids her age all the time. She is, for her age, she's the biggest girl in her class. She won't be the biggest kid in her class. She's definitely got a firm, but not firm, but you know, layer of fat on her whole entire body that you can visibly see because she's nude all the time. And sometimes I think it's normal, and then I'll see other kids, like, you know, other friends, and I'm like, holy mackerel, they're all super skinny. Now I don't want my kids to be super skinny. I'm not putting her on a diet, and for real, I want it to be known, like, she clearly, we know what body type she has, you know, like, we know what familial side it's coming from. And we have seen that side of the family have different struggles with how they've managed it. And I'm not putting any feelings on her. She doesn't think she's fat. She thinks she's like the bee's knees. I mean, she doesn't think there's anyone more beautiful than she is because of her long blonde hair and blue eyes, and she's right. But here's what we feel badly about. We do not push activity in this house. While I take time to exercise, and she knows I do, and she knows why I exercise and all of that, and she thinks that's part of a grown-up's life, we're not a physically active family. We're just not. And the downside of that is that, and she's always been naturally like an observer. She's the kind of kid who comes home from school and sits down and reads a book or plays with tiny, dolls and listens to a book on tape. I mean, she's not the kind of kid who comes home and climbs a tree. Although she has been climbing trees. This is what I'm talking about. She's physically capable of a lot of physical activity, and at school I know she runs around the boys all the time, but that's just like 15 minutes a day. And then for us, partly because I have a kid who's much younger, and also, just the way our neighborhood is, like, to do something like that, we pretty much have to get in the car and go somewhere and make a plan. I want people to talk about it. I mean, like, it's easy to not do it. Also, since moving here and then being depressed and then getting injured and all that stuff, definitely watching more TV than we used to. And the fact is, I mean, there's just times where, I'm normal. I'm tired and I don't want to make an effort to go do something. And I'm really feeling like now's the time. We have to retrain our family, and we have to make physical activity a bigger deal. Not going to put any kind of emphasis on what she eats. Overall, she's still a healthy eater with although some things have been coming to light that I've been paying attention to. One is that she does not understand the concept of hunger. So, which is interesting. And then I realized, well, it makes sense with her feeling about it. When she's really hungry, she says her stomach hurts. And we're always like, if we know it's been a long time, we'll be like, well, I think you might be hungry. It's like an hour past lunchtime. And lately, she's been eating too much. This has been going on for the last, and I kind of remember being this age and eating too much. And I think maybe it's a normal phase where you're kind of trying to gauge something. And so she's been eating too much, making herself sick. So that's a problem. And then the other thing is that I realize is that when she wants food, just because she wants it, like you want a lemon square or you want something, she'll say she's hungry. I think that she believes the definition of hungry is that you want to eat. And that when she is hungry, that's why she doesn't say she's hungry when she's hungry. She says her stomach hurts. That like growly feeling, I don't think that she's ever really, that she has the right definition of hunger. Does that make sense to anyone? I mean, I thought about that today and I thought, what, that makes sense. Like, she just doesn't, because there's so many times when Mr. and I are like, no, you're hungry. Like, you need to eat. But the reverse of that is that when she tells us she's hungry, she'll use that all the time to manipulate us for, extending bedtime or stuff, and end up eating, like, a whole sandwich in her bed. Fine if you're hungry, because I've always this whole time been like, I never say no to hunger, you know what I mean? Like, so I always be like, well, she's hungry, make her a sandwich or get her snack. Like, I never want someone to be hungry. Now I'm thinking this whole time that she's had the wrong definition of hunger. If that makes sense. I mean, only time will tell on that front. So that's what's going on. It's something that Mr. F and I spent a lot of time talking about lately. The reason this came up is I took her to the doctor and they did her percentiles, and it was like, sometimes when that happens and she's, in the overweight range, she's just over the cusp. I like to say, oh, but she might be about to grow. And now it's been like 3.5 years where you're like, yeah, no, she's growing. That's just, it's not going to swing over in one of these times. This is her, and we need to help her have a healthier lifestyle, and that means for us helping her find ways and opportunities to be active, because she's a kid, and kids love to be active. Also, as we need to do for everyone in this house, we need to de-emphasize the desserts. Like, it's a strong emphasis around here. I've got a crazy, crazy sweet tooth, and I love to bake, and I love to show my affection for my family through baking. And it's unhealthy, obviously. And so we're going to try to de-emphasize that and really emphasize the exercise. So, but here, did I say this yet? the main thing with the exercise is this. One of our hardships is that we cannot afford to have her be in dance lessons, gymnastics classes, things like that. Yes, we have bikes, but of course I can't ride a bike, so that's dependent on Mr. F, which can only happen on the weekends. We don't have a fenced-in yard, so when I'm doing stuff in the house, cooking or whatever, kids have to be inside. So people, talk to me. Talk to me about, like, is this something that goes on with you? Have you thought about this? Are you going through this? What have been your solutions? All right, check.